It's really serious. Whenever you get an animal virus, this is an animal virus that's jumped across into humans, and then it has the ability to go from me to you, and it's a respiratory by coughing and sneezing. Then you have to take that really seriously. And we've seen the spread of this across China in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And now increasingly, this is no longer a China problem, this is a global problem.
So if you're switching on the telly, watching this in any part of the world, what are the symptoms to look out for?
The symptoms are of any respiratory infection, and that's part of the challenge. So it's a cough, it's a fever, it's a sore throat, it's muscle aches. But we also have to say that a lot of that will be caused by influenza and other infections. Coronavirus remains at the moment a relatively rare infection compared to all of the other flu-like symptoms. And we must keep this in perspective just to the numbers that we currently have.
The world political community is here. I want to ask you how robust the global health community is in dealing with something like this. How good are you all at communicating with each other?
So the communication has been transformed in the last 10, 15 years. I was very involved in SARS when I lived in Vietnam and bird flu after that. And 10 years on, we're in a completely different situation. We would probably not have picked this infection up 10 years ago in China. And if we had, it may not have been shared with the world. That is completely changed. I knew about this just before the new year. The global health community has really stepped up, sharing samples, sharing information, sharing data and sharing evidence. But it's a challenge to bring this under control when it's so easily spread between people.
Lots of people inevitably will have travelled already. This is the Spring Festival in many parts of Asia. Airports are full. People will have travelled already. Realistically, how easy is it to keep a lid on this? So, I mean, already people have moved in great numbers, haven't they?
They have moved, and with Chinese New Year coming up, they'll move even more over the coming few days. People can take some sensible precautions. They can only travel if they have to. They can wash their hands. They can wear a mask. I think everybody should get a flu vaccine to prevent the number of flu infections. But in the end, if you have a respiratory infection which passes easily from one person to another, it's actually extraordinarily difficult to bring it under control when we don't have drugs and we don't have vaccines.